So I'm a chartered accountant in qualified in 1998, and I did my MBA from Malaysia. I've also done applied
Uh-huh.
economics from Toronto University. I did my strategic management from Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. I am a certified world-class manufacturer assessor, and also the diploma holder in international taxation. I done resilience management, so I did a lot of course in education. Uh, so coming back to the core issue, uh, why personal finance? Why it is important that a personal finance should be known? But before I discuss, I would like to call your attention that why is money and food is so similar. When it comes to food, I will give you the two, three differentiators, and you will realize because all the youngsters are very attracted to the fast foods and the foods as such, and then I will link it to the personal finance. So you will link that what I am talking about. So first, when you eat, when it comes to food, we don't track calorie intake, right? We don't know that how much
Mhm.
calorie you are eating. We are eating two burgers, which are roughly around 1300 calories. A man of around 65 kilo require total 2500 calories. So in one meal, you get total calories of that. But when it comes to personal finance, we don't track spending. So we keep spending without even knowing that what is the limit and where we should stop. And then it comes
Mhm.
to food again, eat more than we know, eat more than what we require, and in spend more than we realize or admit. Coming back to the food, debate minutiae about calorie, diet, and workouts, but in debate, minutiae about interest rates and hot stocks. So our tendency as a human being is that we give very less focus to our personal finance. So why personal finance is important is, in simple word, I can tell you that this is the management of money and financial decisions for a person or family, including budgeting, investments, and managing your expenditure in a such a way that you never get stressed and entire need. So to go overboard at one point of time and another point of time you don't have money at all.
Right, right.
So
So,
that is the way you manage your finance, and this is a skill everybody should know about. Yeah.
okay. So, Abni sir, can you please just let our audience know that what is personal finance who are not aware of this personal finance term? So, can you please just explain them in a simple and easy language that what is personal finance actually by just taking the real life example?
Yeah, so as I have said, like, every household, like, say, for example, my family, I am the single
Mm-hmm.
bread earner for my family. Say I
Mm-hmm.
earn my 100 rupees as a salary or my income, my resources. And so
Mm-hmm.
within that 100 rupees, I have to plan my expenditure. I have to plan my investment. I have to plan my kids' school fee, college fee, university fee. I have to manage my car. So my resources are limited, but my expenditure can't be unlimited. So to know the knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
what is my income and what is my expenditure, so that and your expenditure include your savings also, right? So generally the
Right.
tendency is that when you suppose you earn 100 rupees and your expenditure is
Mm-hmm.
say 90 rupees, then what you
Mm-hmm.
will do, income minus expenditure equal to your saving. But ideally, Warren Buffett, if you guys heard about Warren Buffett, he says that first you save. So if your 100 rupees is your income, so reduce 10 rupees as saving, then your balance amount is for your expenditure. So to know the art how to do this is called the personal finance. Everybody, every household, every family, everybody has to manage. Suppose you have 100 rupees and you are going to have say dating with someone, so you know that you have capabilities to spend 100 rupees. So you will plan, oh my god, so I need to have a vanilla ice cream or a Nescafe or a tea or a cake or whatever. But your ultimate limit is 100 rupees, right? If you go
Mm-hmm.
beyond 100 rupees, then either you have to take loan or you have you have to manage other resources. So it is as simple as that, but it is getting very complicated when you go at the advanced stages.
Mhm. Okay, so the thing is like at our very early age, we were actually supposed to save some money in our piggy bank, and this kind of our parents has been teaching us that you should save your money, and like from at very our initial age, we used to save some money in the piggy bank and save it for future. So this is personal finance is somewhere related to that as well, I guess. What are your views upon it?
See, there are two school of thoughts, Rohit.
Mm-hmm.
One which says that you need to save the money, like in the good luck box you say that, or the
Mm-hmm.
piggy banks, in the words that piggy banks. What our parents used to tell us that you save the money, but
Mm-hmm.
gone are the days where you have to save the money, but saving the money, uh, and the money is not giving the return to you. Like you put your money, suppose you put 1 rupees in your piggy bank, it will remain 1 rupees
Mm-hmm.
even after 10 years, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so the science is, the knowledge is that you make that, to invest that 1 rupees in a way that the money should work. When you're sleeping, also your money should work. You should not worry about my money is stuck, right? So taking on the little higher side, when your money
Mm-hmm.
is stuck, money is in your piggy bank. So suppose when
Uh-huh.
you have 100 rupees approximately in piggy bank, though
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows about it. But if you know that it's approximately 100 rupees, so next year
Mm-hmm.
that 100 rupees value will be around 95 rupees, taking the assumption that the 5% is the inflation rate, right? So your
Right, right.
money value is actually gone down. So
Mm-hmm.
I buy the idea that you need to have saving, but I don't buy the idea that you need to have saving in the piggy bank.
Right. So actually, like, what is the? I want to ask that what is the correct as to start saving for as a from a personal finance term? Like, what is the correct as to start savings and investing actually?
So the correct is that if you start, out of your pocket money also, you can start saving. There is no minimum age limit or maximum age limit. You need the money. Yesterday I
Mm-hmm.
was giving a kind of similar meeting to somebody, and then I was telling them in a public provident fund, in the PPF, you
Mm-hmm.
must have heard the name, that if you are depositing 150,000 for as a
Mm-hmm.
husband and 150,000 rupees as wife, so
Mm-hmm.
300,000 is the limit as of now by the government. And by
Mm-hmm.
40th year, so that 300,000, so you can pay maximum 15 years, so 300,000 multiplied by 15 years, you have paid
Mm-hmm.
45 years, and then 45 years, after 40 years, that 45 lakhs rupees will become around 9 crores rupees. So this is called power of compounding, right? So that,
Right. Right.
yeah, so if you are getting rate of interest rupees 10, your
Mm-hmm.
principal amount is 100 rupees. So your this year, next year, your amount, income will be, total amount will be 110 rupees. Now when you get
Right.
a next year, the rate of interest of similar percentage, your income will be 10% of 110. It will become
Mm-hmm.
121. That is the basic amount. So how it is growing? It is basically the power of compounding. And there are
Mm-hmm.
multiple avenues. So, in concluding remark is that there is no minimum age limit and there is no maximum age limit. As soon as
Mm-hmm.
you can start, it will be a advantage.
So actually, I want just to ask that how to avoid the risk in investing. Like whenever we are investing in mutual funds or let's say investing in stocks, so how can we reduce the risk? Because investing as a student is very like hectic stuff. We are not actually getting some money from anywhere. Being a student and has to invest it somewhere. Then what are the possibilities to avoid the risk? What can be done to avoid the risk in investment? Like if it is whether mutual funds or let's say stock market or let's say doing FD. So how to reduce the risk over there?
See, Rohit, whenever you make investment, there are few criteria which need to be decided. First
Mm-hmm.
criteria is that how much your appetite is for risk. You must have
Mm-hmm.
heard that maximum risk, maximum gain. Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
if your appetite is to take more risk, generally in the young age like yours, you can take
Mm-hmm.
maximum risk because you don't have the liability. Okay, so that
Exactly.
is one
Right.
criteria. Second criteria is the liquidity. That liquidity means that whenever you want your money, you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the options
Mm-hmm.
available to you? Is there is short term mutual funds and then a saving bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Third is that what is in the my age where tax is also become a matter. So you need to invest in the schemes which gives you a tax advantages also. Like
Mm-hmm.
previously, I have given you the example of public provident fund. Public provident gives the rate
Mm-hmm.
of interest around 8%. So the the
Mm-hmm.
total return on this investment is around 11% if you consider it before tax. Then there is how much time you want to invest. So if you will invest for more time, you will get a better return. If you will invest for a shorter time, you will get a lower return. So it is very important
Mm-hmm.
that where you want to what is your objective. I mean, if you have idle money which you are not seeing that you are going to utilize in first 6 months or say 1 year, then you need to deposit,
Mm-hmm.
okay, as a student or as a whatever, because you can need that money anytime. Okay, so you need to
Mm-hmm.
deposit in, you can do it as a fixed deposit or
Mm-hmm.
short-term debt fund in the mutual funds. But it's kind of very complicated. Not very complicated though, because you must not be knowing about it. So therefore, it is always a safe bet to invest in fixed deposit. So it is depend on
Okay.
the requirement. Yeah.
I see, I see, I see. Okay, so basically, most of our viewers currently are like teenage stage currently or seeking for jobs. So my answer was that currently in this ongoing epidemic of COVID-19, what are the mistakes which can be avoided currently and after even pandemic? What are the mistakes which can be avoided after pandemic and currently in this COVID-19 issue
So
related to personal finance?
yeah. See, pandemic or no pandemic, COVID or no COVID, the fundamentals
Mm-hmm.
of money is uh, never change, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you need to control your expenditure to the extent of necessity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you must have heard a lot of people these days don't have jobs, right? People
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
salary cut, salary reduction. So
Exactly.
what is happening that if you don't have enough money in your bank account, then
Mm-hmm.
you will be a problem, and people are getting suicide. Farmers are get doing suicides because they have unplanned their financial planning. They don't plan their financial expenditure because see, ultimately, see, you plan that if I'm getting 10,000 rupees salary per month, so and most of the people work now in the private sector. Government is reducing their manpower. The private sector,
Mm-hmm.
if you are getting 10,000 rupees, you are not very sure about it, whether your job will be there tomorrow or not. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
your expenditure should be, and then there is a concept, right? Then there is a income and there is a wealth. There is a dispute. There's a huge dispute. What is income and what is wealth? So, my wealth
Hmm.
is that how long I can sustain without generating any income. You understand? So,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it is an eternal fact. There is a COVID-19, and it will finish one day. But then the fact of the matter is that you need to get habit of saving at least 25% of your income. That is point number one. Point number two, don't go overboard on the expenditure. Reduce your luxury items. Reduce your expenditure which are not necessary, not essential. So those things can be done, and some habits
Hmm.
need to be developed for forever. You know, I mean, so
Hmm. I see.
so
So basically,
just a sec. If you have
sure.
ability to spend 100 rupees, you spend 90 rupees. 10 rupees is you save. That is called consumer surplus. I can give you a reference of a Chinese philosopher, Tao. he said save money and expend more. So the concept is that if you will start spending on everything, then there will be one day you will have no money for expenditure which are necessary in nature.
That's totally correct. I agree with your point that we should start saving, and actually those money will actually be helping us ahead to expense to do more expenses over there and live a luxurious life in future, not currently but for sure in future. But
Yeah.
now my question comes to that: are there any options apart from stocks, mutual funds, or let's say FDs kind of thing from the investment point of view?
There are plenty of things, and according to but in your particular age, generally, I am not very
Mm-hmm.
sure about your financial wealth, Rohit. But what I can tell you is that generally in these age, you don't have a lot of money. So what you need to do,
Mm-hmm.
you keep the money in liquid position, and we should get some return. So fixed deposit, you can have fixed deposit, or you can also have the liquid MFs, mutual funds, in the debt. So debt funds are really, you can have a 15 days also, you can have a 30 days also, and but you put your money in debt.
Hmm, I see, I see. So basically, guys, okay, it was an absolutely correct answer from Mr. Abani Jha. So now I will be requesting to all of the participants who are having their questions from Mr. Abani Jha, they can just put their questions to questions tab over this video conferencing app, Juhu. So you might be seeing that questions tab over there. You can just put your questions out there, and will be Mr. Abani Jha will be answering those questions right here. And even like let me see if there are any questions which has been left in chat box.
Yeah. So one of the questions which I have received from Harsad Gupta is, can you tell the
Uh-huh.
calculation that worked for 9 crores which you said? Say, for example, I have taken, see, you have options to invest up to 150,000 rupees per person in a year. So I'm assuming that 150,000 rupees for you and 150,000 rupees for your wife. So, and the rate of interest today is 8%, which is tax free. Now, so in total 15 years, you are investing 45 lakhs rupees, and there is an option that you can increase after 15 years. Your payment will stop, but then you can still be invested. So 15 years, another 5 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 years. So I have assumed in my example the total 40 years investment. So that 150,000, and assuming the same rate of interest, it will be more, hopefully, but assuming the same rate of interest, if you will see the calculation, even on Excel sheet, it will be around 8 crore 76 lakhs to be precise. I have taken as a 9 crore rupees. I hope I can give you you get your answer.
Okay, so Harshit, this answer is clear to you now. So there is one question. It's in chat box currently, but okay, not an issue. We'll just take it this question from here only. So the question is that Arjun is 15 years old and he has already invested 1 lakh in stock market, which he'll be holding for many years to come. So his question is, what are your views on trading, like intraday or short-term trading?
See, I have told you, Rohit, there are appetite. In this investing in a share market is always risk prone. So if you have
Hmm.
appetite to invest in the risk prone zone, then intraday is also good, future is also good, option is also good. But then the
Hmm.
probability of winning the money. See what is happening in share market. There are
Hmm.
95% people are losing the money. 5%
Right.
people who are earning the money is the operator, because they are
Right.
the people who are influencing the market to the extent they can earn money. Like for example, take the reference of Thursday on the share market on
Hmm.
Thursday.
Hmm.
How the market was started? It was down 1,300 points when the market was open. It's a gap down, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the people
Right.
who has the buy position suddenly take their stop loss is activated. But what happens? See the operator plays. Then the market moves to upside, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all the person who has taken the sell position, believing that the market is in red, also got lost.
Right. So, like, what you want to say is that we one should also only invest after reading the market situation currently, and
Precisely.
according to that. Yeah. Okay.
You should
So
not
this is
work.
the point.
The money should not be invested purely basis on tips, so called tips. ये बढ़िया है, ये चलेगा, ये नीचे जाएगा करके.
Mm-hmm. I see, I see. So the market has to be read very perfectly for that in the deep research with the deep research actually. So as you mentioned previously that the the more the more the risk is there, the more the gain money gain is there. So
Hmm.
I want to ask that what is the risk exposure you would you recommend you want to recommend to a student? Like if a student is investing his money somewhere, then what is the risk exposure which you want to suggest him he should take? She should take.
See, that also depends that how much money you have. Say, for example, going back to the share market. See, if I
Hmm.
have bought an option of Bajaj Finance, right? So
Hmm.
Bajaj Finance is around 2,500 rupees. So if I will take a future and option of one lot,
Hmm. Hmm.
so what will happen? Probability is that it will go down. But and if it go down, so there is a 300 shares lot. So if goes down 100 rupees, you will make, and you are sale position, you make 30,000 rupees in one lot.
Hmm.
But what happens generally, the operators doesn't give the opportunity to the buyers or such kind to to
Hmm.
to make the money. Yes, you can make the money. It's a kind of a speculation. You can make the money, but most of the
Hmm.
time you realize that the money you have made, you are end up losing more money than that.
Hmm.
So the
So.
best possible investment avenue is, if you still want to invest in the market, is debt fund or index funds. Index funds are like, say, Nifty 50 or kind of funds where it is kind of hedging. So if you are investing in one share, the probability
Mhm.
of risk is high. But if you are investing in 50 shares total on Nifty, your probability of risk is very low.
Mhm. Okay, right. So basically, I see that. So now my question is that most of the participants are basically at student, like they are at student seats currently, or many of us are many of them are job seekers as well. So what is that particular advice for them you want to suggest them? That what will be the advice for the job seekers for you from your side?
So I would advise them, don't take a lot of risk until unless you have established income. So you take a systematic investment plan or debt funds, or you can take ETF also. Or if you so as I have already told you, you can invest 100 up to 150,000 rupees in PPF. So start investing in that. That is the best investment possible in India as of now, which is guaranteed by the government of India. So as long as government of India is functioning, this money is secured. It is 100% secured, guaranteed by the government of India. And this is the only investment scheme in India which is uh, tax free. Yeah, its income is tax free. Everything is tax free.
Okay, so the thing is that the issues like most of the students are not actually that familiar with the stock market currently. I
Mhm.
want to know just platforms which can be actually feasible for students to start investing, not just mutual funds, not that FD kind of thing, or not the stock market. Apart from stock market, mutual funds, and this FD, what are the investment fields that student can initially invest in?
See, there are equity markets you can invest. There are bank deposits you can invest. Then there are fixed deposit you can invest, and there are some company fixed deposit
Mhm.
also which you where you can invest. Then you can invest the gold ETF. The gold also you can invest, or the commodity. So gold is the
Mhm.
best at this point of time, at least for next 6 months. Then there are
Mhm.
real estate, right? So these are the some
Mhm.
core revenues, and then there are provident funds or the government, like RBI bonds or the bonds of the government of India. So you can invest there as well. So
Mhm.
these are the options, basically.
Okay, fine. So I'm having this question from Mr. Aditya Kushwaha that how about bonds?
See, you can invest in the bonds. It is very nice, but the problem is it has a zero liquidity. It has a lock-in period,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you are ready to invest for long term, then it's a good investment.
How to do a proper market research before you should start investing? Like, what are the key things that we should look for? Here's Akash is also asking this question right here.
So what I'm saying is, there are two types of analysis of any script
Uh-huh.
listed on a stock exchange. One is fundamental research, and
Uh-huh.
another is chart. There are so many charts, candle chart, and then there is so many other charts. And there are fundamental studying of the business as a whole. For example, if your eyes and ears are open, you would be knowing that what is happening in the market. Like for
Uh-huh.
example, Reliance Industries. The whole world was crying that this is a lockdown,
Right.
coronavirus, etc., etc., etc. This company has procured
Mm-hmm.
more than 1 lakh crore uh, uh, investment to by selling around 22% stake in Geo. So what will happen? So by procurement of this money,
Right.
they will
Exactly.
become debt free. So this company is now will be valued at par with the global IT technology companies like Facebook
Uh-huh.
or Google or whatever, because these are no longer a petroleum company now. So this is a share. Uh, if you have your analysis, your fundamental analysis clear, and you study the charts, various charts, RSI, Candle, or so many other historical charts. So you take the 5 years review of the how the share prices move. Like one example is the
Uh-huh.
Hindustan Unilever Limited. Now, if you say full lifetime chart, candle chart, you will find that since inception of HUL, its annualized return is as high as 22%
Uh-huh.
per
Uh-huh.
year, right? So these are the fundamental
Mm-hmm.
strong company. So, taking the view, like somebody was asking whether what is the options
Exactly.
here, intraday or short term. So, if your preview is to for very short term or intraday, then you can invest in any
Uh-huh.
any any share, right? So it is not a problem. But if your view is very far, I mean 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line. Now, for example, if you want to invest in a State Bank of India, State Bank of India is the largest public
Exactly.
sector bank in India, right? And so today the price is around
Right.
175 rupees. And nothing is going to happen to it, State Bank of India, irrespective of the kind
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
NPAs it has. So if your view is that you can wait by
Uh-huh.
investing 2 years in SBI, it is definitely going to give you a return of
Exactly.
25 to
Right.
30%.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to very clear that what is your view. Your view is short term, medium term, or long term. All these companies, do you think that Hindustan Unilever or Dabur or Reliance Industries Limited or Mahindra and Mahindra or Hero Moto
Mm-hmm.
is going to die,
Right.
collapse? Not possible. So these are the fundamental strong company. Now, so when you start investing in share markets, start with top Nifty 50 or Nifty 20 or Nifty next 50. All these companies are fundamentally very strong. Then you also
Mm-hmm.
analyze yourself, not believing somebody or some expert that they are suggesting or giving you the tips that this company will post. That you can also do, but then probability of losing the
Right.
money is very high. So you should have a fund. And then there is a lot of site, investing.com, moneycontrol.com. You get everything free of cost. You go, you will have both fundamental analysis and the chart analysis,
Right.
technical analysis, you can say. So all if you convince that both these things are giving the positive perspective, and also the company is very strong otherwise also, then
Right,
you start
exactly,
investing
right,
in
sir.
this.
So I guess like most of the students, like right now, like I'm just talking about the people of my age, they focus over like short-term trading, not over long-term trading. That's why they go for intra trading. That's why like there are like you might have like here seen that as well. Like there are a bunch of YouTube courses, YouTube videos right there over there, which are basically talking about like how you can make money out of like this intraday trading and then stock market and everything. Like those are just cliche videos, like how you can get rich so quickly, how you can get rich very quickly. So I guess
See all yeah, there are thousands of videos on YouTube which will make you instant successful. 50,000 rupees guaranteed from Nifty 50.
exactly.
See all those guys, all those experts.
Exactly, and
You
this
should
is I
not
guess
believe.
like what
You should
I
not
see
believe.
as a kind of a trap, or you can just say as a cliche marketing.
No, they are
Okay,
the agents
fine.
of the brokers.
So those courses, like, what do you think about like how like there's a one more question. Like I want to make a career in stock market. Like, should I do any course, or is there any specific college for it? Like how someone should actually like start with, like when they are actually like having a goal vision of becoming a CFO of a company, say. So how they should actually start their career?
Hmm. See, if you want to pursue and want to make
Uh
career
huh.
in a share market, you need not to be
Uh
very
huh.
formally educated. Okay, and but these days there are a lot of courses offered by National Institute of Security Management. It is company promoted by National Stock Exchange,
Uh
Bombay
huh.
Stock Exchange, and SEBI. And then there, if you have the open, say, share trading account and on the
Uh huh.
ICICI Direct, etc., you will find a lot of
Right.
knowledge available freely. And if you want to do anything specific like future options or say intraday trading, how to read technical chart, etc., you can do that. I mean, there is no problem. But you need not to have any formal education. But if you want to pursue, then there are a lot of courses now available on NISM. So if you will search on the Google NISM, you will find a lot of courses related to
Okay, I
stock
guess like
exchange
yeah,
and
this
stock
is
market.
like where this is the part where most of the teenagers, you can say, or most of the college students actually get stuck at, because there are like a bunch of cliche videos available on YouTube. So they just get confused, like how should I actually start into stock marketing? How should I actually start investing for my future? So these are the very general terms like people usually confuse about. So I'm just having so one more question here. Like, can you please suggest some ways or resources from which beginners can learn about stock markets? I guess you have already answered this one, like learning onto NISM, right? So I'm just getting on to the next
Hmm.
question. Is there any financial strategies for a startup company? What not to do when we start a company?
See, what is happening with a startup in India, that is
Uh-huh.
very unfortunate part. Uh, they start taking money
Exactly.
very early. So what is happening? Suppose I have
Uh-huh.
started a startup, and as soon as my first money requirement comes, so instead of looking for other alternatives, we are looking for the some other investor. So what is happening? When you get the investor in the beginning and you losing your equity, you are losing your
Right.
equity very cheap. So yesterday I was talking to somebody who wanted to dilute some of his stakes for just around 10 crores rupees. I have said, what is the fun? I mean, you can get the money in debt and increase your business, so
Right.
your valuation will be higher. So, I would suggest startups to at least work
Mm-hmm.
or bootstrap at least 2 3 years of operations. When you see
Uh-huh.
there is a real growth coming in terms of
Uh-huh.
business or profitability, not even profitability, you are able to generate the volume. It is good to go, but till the time business started giving you the return in terms of
Uh-huh.
volume or in terms of revenue, you don't need to go for a private
Exactly,
investment
sir.
or equity investment. You should you should be debt. You should
Uh-huh.
be either bootstrap
Okay.
or you go for debt funding. And then there is so these are according to my understanding. I have very
Uh-huh.
little knowledge. So I can suggest that you
Yeah, I guess
don't put
that's
a strap in
most
the
of the
beginning.
entrepreneurs these days are literally like running over funding and everything. So I just recently came over this term which is called as unit economics. Like if you're a startup, if you're just making 2 rupees for every 1 rupee that you spend, you should not go for funding. So what do you views on this thing? Like I guess this is like a most fundamental way of like running a company or maybe bootstrapping. So like what are your views on this thing?
No, see, what is happening,
Uh-huh.
because of this coronavirus, people have very
Uh-huh.
unfortunate situation where investors has a lot of money in their bank account,
Uh-huh.
but they are not able to invest. But there are same time there are a lot of investee company who are looking for money
Exactly.
but not getting the money. But problem is that everybody, this coronavirus has taken
Uh-huh.
the faith of everybody
Right.
in
Right.
each other. It is not a situation where money is not there. There
Uh-huh.
are a lot of money, but then there
Exactly.
are not a good opportunity. I get at least
Uh-huh.
100 proposals a day to get the financing done because I do in
Uh-huh.
my private capacity. I do a lot of advising to the startups that
Mm-hmm.
how to get money. But I get a lot of proposals which are just useless. I mean, there is no
Exactly. Right,
seriousness.
sir.
So, and if you believe in your idea, see what is a startup? Not every company which is registered as a new private
Mm-hmm.
limited company or new
Right.
company is a startup. A startup has a certain definition, and according to that definition, you need to have some new
Mm-hmm.
idea, some innovation in your product or service offerings, which can
Uh-huh.
make the life easy, more employment opportunity, or it can give them luxury to the life. I mean, if you say, for example, if I am uh, uh, open a private limited company and
Uh-huh.
started a kirana stores,
Exactly.
it is not a
Uh-huh.
startup. So people are getting confused. They open the company and treating themselves as a startup. The startup is not that. The startup is always a unique idea, innovation, and something which can make the life easy for an entire human being, or the for the nature, or
Right. It's
environment,
about
or
solving a
something
particular
like that.
problem for your from your surrounding. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there are problem of plenty. You can see plenty of
Yeah,
problems. So you choose
exactly.
any
Like
problem,
it's
any
just about
problem for that
exploring your
matter.
surrounding. Like you can just go out and just see like what are the problems that
Correct.
people are actually facing in their day-to-day lives, and you can just make a startup out of it. Like how can I make a
Exactly.
build a product, or how can I actually provide them a service that is actually gonna help them solve that problem, right? Okay, so moving on to the next question, you just talked about gold investment a few minutes ago. That there's a huge profitable thing that you can get out of gold investment. So here's one guy called as Vansh. He's asking about. I want to know what do you think of gold as an investment? Like what are the opportunities in this domain?
Every investment
Uh huh.
portfolio of every company or every individual should have at least 10% of gold investment
Right.
in their
Exactly, sir.
portfolios.
Uh huh.
It balances. See what happens
Uh huh.
in the situation like this when everything is
Uh huh.
going down, gold is up. Okay, so it is hedging. How you hedge your risk? What is the importance
Mm-hmm.
of insurance for that matter? When you go, you a car. Say I buy
Uh huh.
Audi for today, and my car car got accident, and I don't have money
Mm-hmm.
for to repair the car. So how am I guessing that
Right.
I can repair the car? So I am buying the insurance, right? So to the extent of that insurance limit, I can get my car repaired. I take the medical insurance. Like suppose somebody takes the
Uh huh.
medical insurance. I got corona. Now, corona is very costly treatment. You know that 20 lakhs
Uh huh.
some hospital are charging. So how you are going to hedge that expenditure is by taking the insurance. Okay. So the gold in your investment portfolio is just a hedging of your
Uh huh.
hedging of your investment. So if you will see when share
Uh huh.
market will go down, your other investment will go down.
Mm-hmm.
Gold will be up. When gold will be down, other market will be up.
Right.
So it's a kind of
Exactly.
hedging.
Right, sir. Okay, so there's one more question, like sir, like how should one actually diversify between debt and equity funds? Like how you should like classify them? Like,
Uh, See, that is also
uh huh,
depend on your risk profile, how much you want. If you see, in old days, people don't take any risk at all, right? So they invest
uh huh.
entirely in debt. But good mix is 60% debt, forty
Okay,
percent
fine,
equity.
fine, sir. And so, like, how does one like go about choosing a debt fund? You were like talking about like debt fund a few minutes ago as well. So, how does one go about choosing a debt fund? Like, which one should he choose?
See, the plenty of things are, so you have to see there are hundreds of debt funds available of each of the
Uh huh.
mutual funds, right? Even the debt funds are now started giving the problem. So you must have heard the Franklin investment,
Uh huh.
which has closed three debt funds. So but there are ICICI and some Kotak Mahindra and Sundaram Finance. There are few schemes
Okay,
which you
right,
can refer to.
right, sir. Okay, and so there's also, I guess, I see a conversation going on about a company, despite not being profitable, offers an IPO. Why does public buy such IPOs? And there's one more guy like talking about like answering like it's not possible to launch an IPO without being profitable for 3 years. So can you just clear this out? Like what's the scenario right here? Like how a company goes IPO without being profitable, or is that not possible?
See, and there is somebody was asking about Easy My
Exactly.
Trip IPO. So just for his
Uh-huh.
information, I can tell you that because of coronavirus, it got stuck because the
Uh-huh.
market situation is not good, and tour and travel business is
Mm-hmm.
badly impacted. So around a quarter or two, it will
Mm-hmm.
get delayed. So that much information I can share. But barring that, we are online. And then your question, coming back to your question, a company, despite not being profitable,
Uh-huh.
offers an IPO. Why does public buy
Uh-huh.
such IPOs? Uh, See, it works on the PE
Mm-hmm.
multiples, right? I may not have profit, but it doesn't mean that my business model
Uh-huh.
is not correct. Profitability, like which particular bank? People, I think a lot of your audience is very keen to
Right.
share market. So there is a bank. There is a bank which was consistently giving losses for
Uh-huh.
8 years. This year they
Right.
were in green. So loss or profit doesn't make a company
Uh-huh.
bad. Uh, Take for
Uh-huh.
example, Uber, Ola,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is in loss. But do you think that this business is not good? See, do you know anybody who can type in chat box the profitability of Facebook for last accounting year
Yeah.
or
Guys,
financial
you
year?
can just drop your answers in the chat box only.
Anybody can answer me that, or give me any such companies which has to global companies to whom you know about. So I'm coming back to, so we will
Yeah.
discuss maybe later. So what is happening? Facebook real profit is
Uh-huh.
just nothing. It's a almost you can say break even. But see the company
Uh-huh.
valuation. So there are two types of return a
Mm-hmm.
company can get. One is economic value added and
Uh-huh.
market value added. Say for example, if I invest a
Uh-huh.
company 100 rupees today, and if I able to get the same share value in next 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
200 rupees, you will know a lot of companies having such
Right.
kind of profile. Like today, my share is 100 rupees, and my share value in next 3 years or 2 years
Right.
is 200 rupees. So what is my return?
Exactly.
50. In one
Good.
it is
Yeah.
50%, correct? But how much? which company in the world gets profit of 50%?
Right.
Tell me. But so that is called you how you get
Mm-hmm.
your return back. You buy
Uh-huh.
a house, right? So there is a one income,
Mm-hmm.
there is a rental, correct? And one income is capital
Right.
appreciation,
Right.
correct? So I buy a house today,
Mm-hmm.
20 lakh rupees, and I get a return of 10,000 rupees a month or 20,000 rupees a month. But the next 5 years, my house value is 100
Uh-huh.
lakhs rupees. So is it not an income? It is, of course, an
Right.
income,
Yeah.
right? It's a
Right.
different mode. So the question here that if the company
Mm-hmm.
is in loss, there can't be a why the company should buy. So the people or the investor knows the capabilities of the company, and that's why they
Mm-hmm.
buy the shares.
Right, exactly, sir. So, like, sir, I guess like we can come back to the personal finance part. So, I had this one last question that's a confusion within myself only. So, I recently came across a very well-known guy. Like, he was talking about SIP, like why one should actually start with SIP at a very early age. So, what he was basically suggesting is like when you like suppose you're getting a pocket money of like something like 3,000 or 5,000 rupees, so you can just basically denote, you can just basically keep apart just 500 rupees from that pocket money part, and you can basically invest in SIP. So what are your views upon SIP, like as a college student, talking about a college student?
I I I like that, and I have said in my earlier communication that SIP
Uh-huh.
can be chosen.
So I guess that I
SIP
guess
can be
that's the
chosen.
most beneficial way like one can go through. Like I won't say like it's the most beneficial way, but I guess that's a, like a good one to start with as a college student.
Because see, the advantage of mutual fund is that you can liquidate
Uh-huh.
it anytime, and it gives you better return than the fixed deposit and the saving
Exactly.
account.
Right. Right, sir.
One one question is from
Uh-huh.
Dinesh Suresh. Which company do you think will become profitable in the
Uh-huh.
upcoming years? So first, you tell me, my friend, that which company you want to know, which is in red, so to
Mm-hmm.
become green. Uh, like for example, I'm taking the example of banks or the NBFCs. Most of the NBFC and banks has made severe provisioning this year. I mean, in this quarter, March quarter. So what will happen? Like Bajaj Finance has, if I remember correctly, have provided around 3,000 crores in provision, anticipating that there will be a lot of default in the payment. Suppose their default rate is lower, okay, then those provisioning which has hit the profit and loss account this quarter will certainly become the profitable in next quarter. Like the moratorium, this is a talk of the town. Like a lot of RBI has allowed the person who has taken the finance or
Mm-hmm.
spent some money on credit
Uh-huh.
card to get the moratorium of
Mm-hmm.
paying the interest. But my the market estimate says that SBI has very less moratorium. So, but they have
Right.
already provided in the books. So you will see in the next quarter performance better than the market
Uh-huh.
expectation, at least for SBI. So I mean, uh, if I'm going back to what I've said in the, earlier, that if you are looking the fundamental strong company, like day before yesterday, I was in the some meeting, and where the CFO of Hindustan
Uh-huh.
Unilever Limited was there. I was discussing of chat that what is the situation in HUL, because I've also invested some money in HUL. So he told me that my demand is as high even before Corona period. So if my before Corona period order was say 100,
Uh-huh.
it is now 120. So what do you think? Whether that will certainly going
Right.
to impact the PNL. So if you have
Uh-huh.
money, you buy
Right.
HUL share, right? It is definitely
Right. Exactly.
going to go up.
Totally right, sir. So, and like, are there any like tools or applications that you like suggest to use as a student that where they can actually track their expenses, like where they can invest? I guess like there are a bunch of people right here who are not aware about like how to invest in stock market. So, are basically I know a few of the names, like there are Zerodha and other applications. So, like coming on to you, sir, do you recommend any such applications or like something where they can track their expenses, where they can invest and use to invest money?
See, nothing very
Uh-huh.
specific, but you can use Zerodha. Their
Uh-huh.
rate is very less, or you can also use ICICI Direct. The difference between ICICI and Zerodha is that Zerodha is a very small entity, largely giving the window for share trading, and they
Mm-hmm.
will charge you very less
Uh-huh.
money also. But the benefit of ICICI Direct is a part of the larger institution, and it has a lot of research-based
Uh-huh.
products, right? There are teams which are researching on the various equities and portfolios, and then they will
Right.
give you the recommendation. So I would suggest
Uh-huh.
not to go for peanuts and
Uh-huh.
open an account in Zerodha. Look for ICICIdirect.com, or say, for example, there may be
Uh-huh.
other alternatives also, but I prefer
Oh,
use
Sir,
okay.
ICICI.
Aditya this side. You spoken about the instruments and
Yeah.
like I just wanted to know like let's say Zerodha is for tracking your stock market expenses and all those commodity expenses, equity options, derivatives. But what if somebody like a youngster, let's say 18 years or a teenager or somebody in early 20, then they are not into stock market, but they have couple of more investment, let's say bond and golds and other options. Okay, so now, is there any tool or tracking
Hmm.
mechanism available, I mean, already available that can be used to feed in and keep a track of all our investment, their growth and the returns, and maybe we can add up our expenses as well? Can you suggest some tools or something?
I see. ICICI Direct use that, or you can open a dummy account in
Investing.com.
investing.com.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Investing.com. Okay, investing.com will give you a lot of
Mm-hmm.
free information. You can do so on a
Okay.
moneycontrol.com also, but if you are really want to trade, you can do on ICICI Direct. It has
Okay.
you can do anything on
Okay.
that. You can do commodity, you can
Awesome.
do
So one
equity,
more
you can do
question.
anything.
Like let's say from startup point of view, let's say somebody is somebody is going to start. Okay. Now there are a couple of investments involved, let's say for legal activities, for all these registration purpose and all these things. And then you have operational overheads, and then you have recurring HR and all those resources. So how you say like what should be the priority to plan which thing first and which thing can be the second or the third from the startup point of view?
Um,
Okay.
you have to repeat the question
So
once again,
let's say
please.
I am registering a startup today. Okay. I need to incur a lot of investment, maybe in the registering of a private limited firm, getting a trademark and all these legal activities done. Then I might need to file GST and all these filings and all things should be done. Then I need to incur my R&D cost. So if I'm developing a product or something, or I need to bear the operational overhead for infrastructure, real estate, and all those things, then I might need to hire some people or some more people to work with me as a full timer or whatever can be. So what are the expenses that I should be considering first on my bucket, and what are the expenses that I should be putting last on my bucket?
Oh, your
Yeah,
initial expenditure, like registration or legal expenditure, see, it is a kind of
yeah.
body. You need to have body, right? Then act. You can't.
Mm-hmm,
Atma is a air, but it doesn't work in the
mm-hmm.
human earth, right? So you need to
Okay.
have body which can work. So the body, so you have to create. I don't. Nobody is saying that you need to have private limited company
Mm-hmm.
or something, right? So you need to have a body. It may be a proprietorship company. It may be a partnership company. It may be some
Okay.
company which is registered, which
Okay.
has some
Okay.
identity as a legal identity. And because when you say you have some innovative idea, you certainly want that that idea should be
Mm-hmm.
safeguarded, right? So you cannot safeguard that idea if you
Okay.
don't have any identity. those expenditures are must, and it doesn't take fortune. I can tell you, all the
Mm-hmm.
beginning expenditure like opening the company or getting the GST registration done, etc., 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 will cost you not more
Okay.
than
Okay.
50,000 rupees. Okay, so then coming back to hiring of people, or
Correct.
having the office
Mm-hmm.
location, or investing on the product item. So the hiring the
Okay.
office is the last. Okay, every investor, every investors doesn't bother
Okay.
about from where are you working. You must have
Yeah,
heard a lot of
exactly. Yeah.
story about garage work, right? So it is actually matters. What really matters and importance, it has significant importance is why you have started the startup.
Mm-hmm.
What is your core idea? So you need to work
Mm-hmm.
on that core idea. So you need to whatever development model, research, etc., you have to do non-compromisable, and your body
Okay.
is not compromisable. Rest is you can do as and when you
Mm-hmm.
feel it necessary.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And also one more question. I mean, a few minutes back you were talking about when we started the session. Actually, you were talking about the startup and the let's say fundraising thing. So, and you mentioned that in your personal capacity, you do take all these things under use. Okay, so I just wanted to ask one question. Being an investor or being a venture VC or something, when you try to fund a startup, what do you actually look into them? How do you set a benchmark like this startup would do good or what they have done in past? How do you evaluate a startup when it comes to funding?
See, see, there are two, three important aspects for investing in any startups or any
Mm-hmm.
other investment avenues. Like, what is the uniqueness of that?
Okay.
What is the uniqueness in this concept? So if you are bringing something innovative, something which can solve the problem
Mm-hmm.
all around us, right? So this is a workable idea, but then idea
Correct.
will only
Correct.
not work, right? It also need to
Mm-hmm.
be scalable. So scalable means that suppose there are some areas that it's very
Mm-hmm.
good, it will work, but it can't be made big. You need to be scaled, because when I invest in a company, I would certainly want that I need a get better return, because the investors also got to
Correct.
invest
Correct.
money from somebody else, right? And they have to give the return. So the whole idea is that whether I'm going to get a return on this
Mm-hmm.
investment to the extent we want or not. So that is only possible when your idea is scalable. Scalable means that
Okay.
it can become
Cool.
big,
Okay.
right? Like say for example, when Flipkart was started
Mm-hmm.
as a bookseller, it was known that today they are selling the books,
Correct.
but
Correct.
they can
Even
sell
same was
anything,
with
right?
Amazon also, right? They started both started with selling books.
Yeah. I'm not taking Amazon for that
Yeah.
matter. Amazon is too big to handle. But Flipkart or say
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Medikits or something like that. So because these are
Okay.
scalable, and scalable not only in terms of product but also in
Uh-huh.
terms of
Okay. All right.
size. Okay, these are two factors. And then what is one other days where investors were investing just for sake of
Mm-hmm.
becoming big. Now investors are also very focused on the how soon you
Okay.
can be in profit,
So one.
because they have
Mm-hmm.
burned their fingers in Make My Trip,
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yatra, or
Yeah.
say for a lot of companies, like
Mm-hmm.
even in Flipkart, uh, they are not in a
Correct.
profit as
Correct.
of
Correct. Even you see
even now.
Oyo also like
Okay.
it's in recurring loss.
Yeah. So investor, because investors see,
Correct.
investor business is to invest, right? And to earn money. So when you are investing in a company and which are in
Mm-hmm.
consistently in negative, how the valuation will come?
Yeah.
So your money is stuck. It is kind of investing. You have invested in a share of 100 rupees, suddenly
Correct.
it gone down to 80 rupees. Now you are not sure whether you want to stay here at 80
Correct.
rupees or you want to get right out.
Okay.
So,
So
so
one
those
last
are the
question. I think
points.
all most of the participants here would be youngsters and they would be doing freelance or some kind of consulting activities. which we generally do actually as a freelancer. So most of the cases where it
Mhm.
happens, like we have done a work, but we could not get the money because we are not a registered entity. We cannot file a case. And what are the instruments that you will recommend us to safeguard our money? Like, let's say if we are doing a work, we can get the money from for what we have done the work. What are the contracts that we can write? What are the legal instruments that we can use when bringing in picture?
You have to do nothing but to register on the
Okay.
MSME side. So every company has to clear the money within 45 days from the date of invoicing. And if they are not able to pay, they will give you the return, the penalty, 100% more than the
Oh,
bank interest
that
rate.
was like something that we never knew actually. So that's a good idea. But as a freelancer, how
Something from
can we
that side.
register on MSME? Like what would be the suggestion for freelancers? Like they don't have a registered entity, right?
You can be
Okay.
registered in your name also. I have told you, see, if you
Mm-hmm.
have long-term view, and in business,
Correct.
generally people have long-term view. So you have to maintain your structure in such a way that gives you the
Mm-hmm.
scalability. Suppose you got a contract, you are all alone. You got a contract
Mm-hmm.
that you want to execute. So what you will do, you will most of the thing you would not could not even apply or could be considered if
Correct.
you don't have any structure.
Okay.
Okay, so one single person, despite being the capable of doing it, will not be considered as a being capable of because you don't have the infrastructure, and if you have the infrastructure, you can create the infrastructure within a night. So I would suggest all the entrepreneurs who has long term vision
Mm-hmm.
for business to create some legal identity. This is always advisable because if you have the legal identity and you are generating some financial numbers, tomorrow if you need the loans or finance from somebody for expanding your business, you can do it, but not on the individual level.
Okay.
You can do it in name of the individual
Mm-hmm.
also. Suppose I'm Avani Kant, I can do
Okay.
Avnikant and Associates.com or
Yeah.
Kanskar,
Okay.
something,
Okay.
some entity.
So I think that's all from my side. I would rather take this opportunity to ask one last question. Okay. So let's say most of the people are job seekers right now. I mean, most of them, like we say, 2020 pass out, who are yet to venture out into the market. So we have like Ranjan and couple of more folks. So I mean, they have no straightforward source of income right now with them, and the market is like low and everybody is laying off, all the companies are laying off. So what is your recommendation for them, for from a personal finance point of view? Like how should they be thinking and they should be planning their personal finance?
Uh, it depends on
Okay.
the person to person. So I'm not very sure the kind of background people will having, but generally, I personally believe that uh, there is no dearth of opportunity for right people or the people who has some ability to perform. But in the meanwhile, they don't have anything to do what they need to do. They expand their
Okay.
knowledge. If somebody is engineer and want have enough knowledge of engineering, so suddenly he can explore that what are the knowledge which can go sync
Mm-hmm.
with this particular knowledge. Say for marketing, so if you add technology with marketing, you can start doing
Okay.
technology
Okay.
marketing. Okay, if I'm a CA, I don't have a job, for example, then what I will do, I will start learning the investment nitty gritty so that I can advise somebody to invest in the different
Mm-hmm.
fortunes. Correct. So these are the some value addition you keep doing it. But as far as financial conditions are concerned, I am not very sure
Okay.
I can't make
So,
generalized
as we have a
question.
topic like this, the personal finance has a skill. So, I mean, when we associate a skill, we definitely associate a career path or a career trajectory, or let's say opportunity. So, do we have opportunities or a career progression as a personal finance advisor or something?
Lot. Everybody needs a personal finance guy, but this market is already too much crowded. But anyway, as I have already said, there is a
Hmm.
dearth of right talent in
Correct.
every situation. So if you know the product well, if you are able to explain well, if you are able to sell, then
Okay.
nothing is a
Thank you so much,
problem.
sir. I think that's all from my side.
Yeah, I guess we are running in short
So
of
any
time
other
as well.
question?
I guess it's already like 1 hour and 11 minutes. So I guess we should stop right here with the questions part. So Aditya sir, do you have any more questions to like ask?
No, nothing from my side. Nothing from my side. Thank you so much,
Okay,
sir.
cool. So, Abani sir, thank you so much for joining in this session. I'm just gonna take the control over myself right now from you, and I'm just giving a very short introduction to
Yeah,
all our audience. I guess it's around like 50 people that have joined us like today. So, let me just take the control over myself.
yeah, sure.
So let me just like give you a very clear idea about like what is basically Sidepath. You guys might be wondering about what is Sidepath and why we are actually doing such webinars. So Sidepath is basically an alternative education platform that we are about to launch in the coming month. So it's less than a month now for the launch, and basically you can learn a bunch of variety of different skills there. So basically, if you're that person, if you're that guy who is not passionate about doing something, who does not know what is his passion or his interest or what does he want to do in life, so Sidepath is basically a platform where you can just arrive, where you can just come, and we have a NLP bot integrated there. You can just use the bot to find what you are passionate about, find what the domains are there like that you should be taking about right now, that you should be taking before graduating. So we have a bunch of different varieties of courses from a variety of skill sets like creative domains as well. And I'm glad to announce that Abani sir is also one of our mentors for the personal finance category. And if you guys like to know more about, if you like to guys know, like dive deeper into the category of personal finance, I would definitely recommend you to drop your email in the beta session box. So we have the beta registrations going on our website. I'm just gonna drop the link in the chat box right below. It's thesidepath.in. So we have already having all the beta registrations going on. You can just drop your email IDs there, and it's almost like less than a month now to launch our platform. And as soon as we launch, you guys will be getting a mail. You can just enroll yourself into and we are actually having like I see many of people like they're actually confused about how to get into this domain, like from the zero to a very like to a particular reputed level, like say personal finance. So we will be having very structured courses. Like suppose if you want to get into personal finance, we will be actually covering starting from very scratch. Like we will be considering that you are a very newbie into this field, and we'll be starting from very level zero, and you will be getting a very a very deep structured roadmaps that you can actually use. Like first you have to do this, then you have to do that, then this is your next step, then this is your next step. So these are all about the Sidepath platform. I just wanted to introduce you that you can just enroll yourself in the beta program. I have already dropped the mail in the chat box. So that was basically from my end, and I'm really grateful to have Abani sir for joining us, for taking out his precious time today. So thank you so much, Abani sir, for joining us today in the session and giving such valuable insights to our audience. It's like something around 50 people that have joined us today among the 108 or 7 registrations, I guess, that we got today. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And I would like to end this session right now. Okay, so Abani sir, are you able to hear me? Okay, so I
Yes,
guess it's
yes,
time
yes.
to end the session now. Thank you so much again, sir, for joining us today on the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much,
Okay,
all.
cool.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, guys.